I have a cold. Well, not really, but kind of not really. It's one of those sicknesses that you can go to work with, but like one that you might be able to play off of and be like, I came in yesterday, but now it got a little bit worse, so I might not be able to come in today. XXXTentacion, Pitchfork, people thinking that he didn't do it, and in my opinion of it now, the video. For all who don't know, X was accused of some domestic violence, and yeah, he was in the midst of that whole legal battle before he passed away. I'm eating an Altoid. Peppermint helps you open up your what is that shit called, the respiratory system when you can't breathe as easily. So take Altoids. They have peppermint in them. Don't say I never did shit for you. Now, originally when the audio came out for this particular topic from Pitchfork, a lot of people, myself included, went on to say, all right, well, we've got our evidence. X admitted what he admitted. That's what it is. He did it. He's admitting to doing it in this audio recording that Pitchfork has. I mean, what else is there to discuss? A couple people after that, the next day, linked me to this video from YouTuber DomIsLive. Now, no hate, no disrespect to DomIsLive, but personally, I didn't get shit from that video. All it did was offer me a what if scenario. Maybe X didn't mean it like that. Pitchfork finally has the full transcript on their website that you can go check out, and they also have the full recording. So I'm like, okay, cool. He still said what he said in the video, and a bunch of people are going along with this narrative that they took him out of context. They used him as clickbait. I mean, for one, I don't see why people are making that seem like it's this heinous crime. I mean, YouTubers have been clickbaiting for years. Publications of people have been doing it for a long time to get traction, all right? They took the most important part of the whole transcript and that recording. They took it out of its context, and then they posted that as what X said. Now, while I don't agree with that as far as journalistic integrity is concerned, I can't say that it really had that much relevance to the overall admission. X, if you're reading the transcript, it still says what it says. It's still very descriptive. It's still very telling.
And for all you people out there that are going to tell me, oh, separate the art from the artist, I do that, and I'm an advocate for that all the time. However, if you honestly believe that, then you shouldn't have a problem with people expressing how they feel about the artist while you yourself enjoy their art.
And for a lot of people assuming that X may have meant, oh, I fucked her up mentally, X makes sure in this recording, in this transcript, to emphasize, I used to fuck her up. For those who don't know, X and this woman, this young lady, this victim, was they were having some relationship issues, some relationship drama, while X was in prison, and he heard a couple things, and he said, okay, I've heard that she's been cheating on me. I heard that, after all the things that I've done for her, and he basically alludes to the idea, if you're reading the transcript, again, this is in reference to the transcript. If you haven't read it, you should do that. He implies that he's been physically abusive before. He implies it in the recording. He implies it in this transcript. He says, she knows I'm a killer. She knows the consequences of this. He's saying, in reference to his past behavior toward her, that if she fucks up, I'm going to kill her. That's what he said. Now, if you're fucking somebody up mentally, I don't care how bad the physical, or I don't care how bad the mental abuse is. If you then become in fear for your life, that's a totally different ballgame. You only get the fear for your life and you knowing that someone's gonna kill you based off what they've done to you physically before. But if that still isn't enough proof or evidence for you, X goes on to say he was in jail. And these are people that were talking to him in jail saying, you're the type of nigga that would kill yourself after you kill your girl. And then he says, yeah. What else? When he says, I used to fuck her up, that means I used to beat the shit out of her. That doesn't mean, oh yeah, like, I would give her a talking to. I would berate the shit out of her. I would chastise her. I would make her feel insecure. I would abuse her up here. That's not what that means. And the people who are purposefully missing what X is trying to say while he's talking is ridiculous, just to give him any kind of out. Now, me personally, I agree with letting the dead rest in peace, okay? I love when people can just say, okay, this guy's gone now. We don't need to talk about it anymore. But there are still after effects because of what people do. If somebody took me out, I don't want no one talking about, oh, his mom should just let the fucking accusers go. Let him rest in peace. Don't keep bringing the shit up. There are still victims. There are still secondhand smoke. There's secondhand smoke. There's stuff that still happens and affects people regardless of whether the perpetrator dies. So that's what you have to understand. This is why that's going to keep being brought up. People don't live or exist just to speak out of the convenience of whatever your favorite rapper or your favorite entertainer is. I know you got a lot of stuff out of X and it may have helped you, but you have to understand he may have hurt other people, you know, and I'm open to that. I was never one of those people that jumped on the bandwagon and said, oh, he did it. I believe he did it, because I didn't have enough evidence. I didn't have enough proof. I didn't. But now this is all I need. And people who are going to say, oh, well, the chick lied. Geneva lied. She came out and admitted. He's also been charged with witness tampering. And if you don't know what that is, it's when you intimidate the person that's taking you to court into changing their story, into being something different that benefits you in the long run, which X was charged with. So she only changed her story because she felt intimidated. That's what that means. I know a lot of y'all come from the internet culture. You're not used to like a court situation. You're not used to how people intimidate whoever takes the stand or intimidates who talks. But that's what happens a lot of the time. People can change their story completely. There are situations where people have been 100% guilty, fucked with their witness a little bit, they changed their story, and then they've been let go. That's happened before. Do I respect Pitchfork for bringing this out now? Can I speak to their motives? No, absolutely not. I don't know what they're doing. Do I think Vic Mensa is still in the right? No, because it was corny, and I think he could still use rappers who are alive as an example for his whole I'm against domestic violence spiel. He could use that or himself as an example, not a guy who's already in the grave. Regardless of whether or not X did it, I still don't agree with using somebody that's passed away. That just doesn't make sense to me. And 100%, I completely understand X being from a violent background, him having a certain upbringing. I identify with him in that way. I wasn't raised in Syria, but I also had a bit of a fucked up childhood in references and in ways that I could identify with and relate to X, but I knew what was happening around me and at the time to some degree wasn't good. I knew that isn't something that I should be repeating. I knew that if I didn't like it happening to me or the people that I love, then I probably shouldn't regurgitate this same behavior. I shouldn't probably repeat this same cycle. So I just tried to make it, you know, a thing. Okay, this is something that I would strongly want to go against, even though in some ways I still could have, you know, been a victim or, you know, fell prey to the same things that I was trying to go against. You know, it happens. But in no way, shape, or form is that an excuse for if I were to walk up to somebody, just start shanking them in the neck. Or if I were to walk up and beat any of the girls I'm talking to and be like, oh, you what? You're not doing what I told you to do? Bam, 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 bam. Oh shit, my childhood. You can't use that as an excuse forever, just like you can't blame your parents for everything that happens to you. Unfortunately, X wasn't in the position where he could grow beyond that terrible adolescence in his life, and that beyond that, those moments and those decisions that he made when he was younger. I would have loved to see what he could have become after that, but unfortunately, he didn't get the opportunity. To set the record straight, what happened to X is in no relation to what happened to Geneva. These are two independent issues. One is gun violence, one is domestic violence. They're both issues that should be handled separately. This one part in the transcript told me everything, because I know people like X, and I know people that have been in his position before. And while it sucks, I'm not gonna pretend it don't exist, because I can identify with the individual. This still happened. When he says that's weak, in reference to the people in jail that were telling him, all the old heads that were telling him, nah, don't touch her, don't kill her, don't do none of that, just accept what she says, get the truth, and move on. You can't do anything other than that. It says this in the transcript. X then goes on to say, I don't like being called weak, which is why this approach he took to get the truth out of her about her being quote unquote unfaithful or whatever, and her doing these things behind his back while he was in prison. That was his approach this time, because he knew beating her, he knew physically assaulting her wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to bring the truth out. And it's ultimately what landed him in jail in the first place. He says, I got out expecting these things, because you know what level of frequency my mind is on. I got out because I knew what was going to happen. She did that to me, right? You know what I did? I forgave her. Pat on the back. Don't lie to me, you feel me? The ex-girlfriend did that to me, right? But because I was locked up, I'm like, all right, okay, it's cool. But then sure enough, I get out. So you know what I do initially? Because I used to fuck her up, bruh. You know what I did? I didn't touch her. I forgive her. People are hung up on that. People are hung up on the fact that since they can't read context and he said, I didn't touch her, that means he never touched her. What that means was this time, I decided not to touch her in order to get what I wanted, the truth. But if this was the old me, I would have fucked her up, bruh. That's what he's saying. He's not saying that I never touched her. He says this time I didn't touch her. That's what he means. And for all you soft-ass keyboard warriors that have never been in a relationship, that have never been outside the house, that have never been in a situation similar to this, talking about, oh, this is what he might have meant, shut the fuck up. That's not what he meant. Look at his history. Look at what he's been saying in the transcript beyond up until that point. Look at what he says word for word. And then get to the part where he says, you know what? I didn't touch her. Read the context, read it closely, listen to it, and look at it. You might have a different opinion afterwards. That's all I'm saying. But X, rest in peace. I don't want to keep putting extra dirt on his name, but this happened. Okay, this happened. And as someone who made it a point not to say anything while he was alive and made it a point not to say anything about it while it was still unclear, when it was clear, I made it a point to say, I will talk about it once it's resolved. And while it hasn't been resolved, this is an admission, okay? That's all you need. That's all I need. That's the video. I guess I'll see y'all next time. And I'm out. God, I hope this gets better tomorrow. Oh, God. I'm dying.